Hey everyone, it's K-Red, and welcome to this week's peaceful pattern. It's Groovy. In fact, it's called Groovy. It's by Eden Hunt. I found it on Zentangle.com, and this in its simplicity is awesome. But if you stayed with me till the end of the video, you're going to see some step outs that we found at atanglersmind.com. She showed some gorgeous ways to make some changes to it, and I want to share them all with you. I really think you're going to like Groovy. I especially think you're going to like some of the variations that we found on atanglersmind.com. But first, let's learn the basic steps, and we can learn these in just a matter of moments. You won't believe how nice it is. So we're going to start by making some curvy lines, some big S lines right along it. And then we want to make a new S line that will meet at the curve. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start it here so that it can help me make sure I meet it, and then I'll continue it on longer just to help me make sure that I'm getting it right. So I'll start like this. And they don't have to touch. They can touch, they can not touch. The pattern will look great either way. So let's go ahead and we'll do one more here. So we have that little corner up there. And that's all there is to step one. I'm going to put one way down here just so I can see clearly what that is. So then let's do it again for step two. We got to get our base, which is our curvy lines. Some big S lines that come in and out. And we want to make sure, ooh, that one I didn't meet too well, that we meet somewhat close in the middle. Like I said, they don't have to match or be exact. We'll go ahead and put our number 2 on there. So some simple wavy lines. So now we are going to start with just one section, whichever section feels more comfortable to us. And we're going to draw some diagonal lines in it. So let's do this one right here. I'm just going to draw some diagonal lines. Now, ideally, we want these to be very purposeful lines. We're going to draw them as carefully as we can. We'll go ahead and we'll continue this one off the page. We'll get the one up top off the page and the one down here off the bottom. So step 2 is going in on one set of the lines and filling them in. So let's do that again here. How big you make your S's or how small you make your S's are going to depend on your project. Okay, those are our 3 lines there. And then now let's go ahead and go in. I turn my paper just a little bit to help my angle and draw some nice simple lines. This is a great fill if you're doing like a full page Zentangle inspired art where you're doing just a bunch of different tangles on it and you have like an odd shaped corner that you're not sure what to put in. This can be a really good one. So now that we've caught up to where we were for step 2, and now we're on our third and final step, we're going to come in with our red pen, and on this step 2 we went from left to right. So on step 3, we're going to go from right to left. I know I've mentioned in the past, but the best tangles are the ones that are super simplistic. Anybody can do this. Lines don't have to be straight, as close together or far apart as your project would like. That is step 3. So I think what I want to do, because I want to do some different ones down on the bottom, let's go ahead and today make things just a little bit different. Let's add on 2 more rows because I'd like to have an example going forward of what this would look like with them all black. So this just gives us a couple more rows. So this right here will give us an example of step 3. The nice thing about making these personalized just for yourself, these little cards, is you can give yourself and do them however you want whatever works for your mind. So these go like this. So on this next one, I want to go the opposite direction. This, of course, is another one where shading can play a nice big part. And you're going to want to, of course, make your lines mindful. You're trying to pay attention to where you put your lines, where you start them, where you end them. I've been watching some of Maria on Zentangle.com, where the creators of Zentangle, and how to create these simple designs that anybody can draw. And I was noting how incredibly slow she draws and how incredibly fast I draw. And it really challenged me to start trying very hard to slow down, to make every line matter, to not try and just get through a project, but to breathe through it and to work through it and to enjoy it. But there you go. We get our 3 steps in the red and a little example there. So now let's switch over to a Tangler's Mind. Now, the pattern Groovy was done by Eden Hunt. I may have failed to say her name, but it is done by Eden Hunt, and it is gorgeous. But on this pattern, on this web page, and I'll include a link, she did up a little sampler of some different ways to do it. So I wanted to share those with you. So for this, let's try to do some horizontally, just so we can see that variation. And on this first one, I went ahead and I put them in nice and close. But I think on the others, I'm probably going to have a little bit of a better spacing between them. And on this one, for these center parts, which I didn't give myself much of a one, we're just doing some lines, some vertical lines. I should have given myself a little bit more of a gap so you could see them better. So on these, she did some straight lines across, but I think it would look neat to have just some little light spots through them. I'll just put those little breaks in the line sporadically wherever I come across it. But it is great fun. Now this would probably be better off doing these little lines with a thinner pin. This is a PN, and it's just a little bit thick. This would make a great border or a type of ribbon. If you did this in red and green, it would almost has a Christmas feel to it almost. Alrighty, so for this next one, I'm going to do a little bit better job of not going quite so close to my S. And then on this one, we're going to start at the top, and we're going to curve down to a point, and they're all going to curve kind of into that same point. Like that. And then we're going to do a couple of large ribbons. And then we're going to do it again. Same direction. And those are the large ribbons. And one more time, right in the middle to start, to a point. We're going to go ahead and do some large ribbons. And you can see how it's almost the same thing, but these are coming straight down, and these are coming to a point on the side. And just that small variance, you really do get a different look. But that's awfully cute. So let's do one more where I give myself a nice long space in between them. exactly equal, but I think they'll be okay. And in our long spaces, I'm going to do that first. We're doing vertical lines. Very similar to what we would have done on the top if I'd given myself a little bit more room. And then on this, we're going to do a solid line and a dotted line. And of course, you can do any design of lines that you want. This is another one that kind of reminds me of a ribbon at Christmas time, if it was done in Christmas colors. I can tell I'm holding my pin way too tight. Way too stressful today. I'm drawing a little quickly. I'm holding my pen a little tighter. I'm having problems focusing on the patterns as I go on. So let's see what this would look like with some shading, shall we? I saved all the shading to the end so we could have just some fun with it. So if we went up to our original step out, the basic pattern, as always, there are no right and wrong ways. But to me, I'm putting just a little bit on the lines so they can have a little bit of definition from when they go in and out. I am not going to put any shading on the one with the red. There you go. Just gives a little bit of variance going in and out. So on this one here, I'm going to go with a little bit of pencil where they come together. And I'm going to try to have my white spot be in the middle. I don't have a real good point on this blending tool. So let me go ahead and shave a little bit of it off. Give me just a little bit of a nicer point to make my blending a little bit easier. And then on this one, where I would like the color is down on the point where it comes in. And accentuate that point that it comes in on the side. And I'm pulling up and then kind of wiggling it down to diffuse it at the end. So I'm pulling up to try to pull it out from the base where I put it. And then on the side, I'm using the side to try to smooth it out to the end. It makes it look a little bit like shells, kind of cute. So this next one, I think I have quite a bit on here anyway. I'm going to add my, I don't have as much as I thought, so let's put a little bit more on. I'm going to add my markings right to the line, the solid lines. And I'm struggling just a little to keep it on just the solid lines. Now, of course, when you're doing these, you could do the same pattern over and over again. We are just doing this sample for the sake of the card and so that we can have our prompts for the future. So I'm going to, on this one, come back in with my mono eraser, and I'm going to actually erase on the line of the dots so that the pencil that would have kind of spread out farther than I wanted could be picked up, and it can leave the shading on the solid line. There we go. So what do you all think? Once again, this is called Groovy, and it is by Eden Hunt. And this week, a little bit different. I did find it on tanglepatterns.com. But I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to tanglersmind.com. who had quite a few variations that I enjoyed trying and attempting and having some fun with. So we're going to add that to our ever-growing super fun list, where every week we learn a new doodle. I am amazed at all the different patterns we have learned together, and I appreciate you all for joining me. Please like and subscribe. It does wonders to my little channel, and it really helps it grow. Let me know if there's a tangle you're interested in. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing, and we'll see you next week. Bye.